While the Sega Master System's North American library of games can't compare to the NES's, there are still a ton of good games for the console, especially when you take into account the European exclusives. So, to celebrate Sega's often overlooked 8-bit console, on today's episode of 5 Games, we are going to take a look at even more good titles for the Sega Master System. First up is the iconic Outrun. With Nintendo's monopoly on third-party developers, Sega relied heavily on arcade ports to keep the Master System going in its early years. So it should come as no surprise Yu Suzuki's masterpiece Outrun would receive an 8-bit port. Of course, the Master System couldn't replicate the awesome superscaling found in the arcade cabinet, so this is definitely not the preferred way to play the game, but for an 8-bit line scroller, it ain't half bad. It gets all the basics right, with responsive controls, manual shifting between low and high gear, fast graphics, and terrific use of color. Even better, you aren't really racing opponents, but rather the clock. Near the end of the section, you'll have an option to veer left or right, giving you a choice of the environment you'll see next. This branching path system was fairly revolutionary at the time, and in all, there are 5 distinct endings to receive and dozens of different paths to take. However, everything isn't perfect. As you travel up hills, it can be impossible to tell what turns are ahead, and incredibly easy to smash into your fellow travelers. Memorization helps, but at times I find Outrun to be a tad frustrating. Thankfully, the soundtrack is simply sensational, perhaps the best found on the system, with some of the catchiest melodies found from the 80s. It's even better, in my opinion, when using the FM soundtrack. The synthesized instruments sound incredible and really help ease the pain of the arcade difficulty. Overall, Outrun is a decent racer and worth a look. Next up is Rambo, known as Ashura in Japan and Secret Command in Europe. Just looking at the title screen, you know this game is going to kick ass, and it certainly does. Rambo is a vertically scrolling run-and-gun game, which were insanely popular during the 1980s. Basically, you traverse your way up 5 grueling stages, shooting down enemies, rescuing hostages, and defeating enemy rushes to progress to the next stage. Your primary weapon is an assault rifle with unlimited ammo. This can be upgraded by collecting L power-ups, which expands the range of your bullet, and the S power-ups, which allows your bullets to travel through multiple enemies. Grenades are your secondary weapon, are not unlimited, and can be used to blow up buildings, large enemies like tanks, and open the gate at the end of the level. Rambo himself is slow but maneuverable, making avoiding incoming fire while also mowing down hordes of bad guys a fun experience. However, even with the responsive controls, I find this game to be insanely difficult. If you lose concentration, even for a moment, you'll quickly drain your 3 lives and it's game over. In all honesty, Rambo doesn't really add anything new to the run-and-gun formula, but the pleasant music, bright graphics, and solid gameplay make it easy to recommend. Quartet is another arcade port from Sega, and a fan favorite in some Master System circles. On the surface, this is a fairly vanilla side-scrolling action game with standard jumping controls and a little pea shooter, but Quartet is actually quite interesting. The main gimmick of the game is having to find the hidden star in each level before you can actually clear it. The star may not be accessible at first either, forcing you to find an item to access it. You'll also have to take out a boss who holds the exit key. And there are multiple rooms to traverse through, helping the simplistic graphics from being repetitive. However, the coolest thing in the game is the jetpack. This allows you to fly all over the screen, which of course makes the game a ton easier. But if you die, the jetpack remains in place, so you really need to pay attention to where you are when the inevitable happens. Unfortunately, the enemies drive me absolutely crazy. They respawn almost instantly, which makes the game a lot more difficult than it probably should be. Still, the soundtrack is charming with that signature Master System sound, and with the bright, colorful graphics and smooth gameplay, this is another solid title for the system. Double Dragon is actually one of my favorite games on the Sega Master System. This, of course, is a side-scrolling beat-em-up or brawler ported by Sega themselves for the Master System. As a lot of these Double Dragon ports were done by different companies, they all have their own unique look and feel. On this Master System version, for example, the jump kick is the best attack in the entire game. It knocks enemies down, preventing them from attacking you, and has a nice range, making it very easy to land hits. The downside, of course, is you'll rarely use the other 7 moves. Still, there are environmental hazards to chuck at enemies, in addition to some weapons like a whip and a bat, so all is not lost. Graphically, Double Dragon is a great-looking Master System game with plenty of detail, lots of enemies, and plenty of pink hair. With all this technical wizardry does come some flicker, but it's never bad enough to impact the gameplay. But yet again, it's the soundtrack putting this game over the top for me. Double Dragon supports the FM sound unit and sounds absolutely amazing, rivaling many 16-bit games. The synthesized instruments are crisp and clear, and the compositions are outstanding, rivaling the excellent Outrun. It's also worth mentioning this supports 2 players cooperatively, as do Rambo and Quartet, so grab a friend and start kicking some ass. Last but not least is Psychic World. This was originally released on the MSX in Japan, saw a worldwide release on the Game Gear, but this Master System port was exclusive to Europe. This is another side-scrolling action game, but with far more depth than many others of the time. First, there is a lengthy introduction detailing a fairly comprehensive backstory. Next, you have a number of different weapons you can use. These weapons can be used in different circumstances, like creating ice platforms to jump on. They can all be upgraded too, meaning you'll want to explore every side path the game has to offer, looking for goodies. You also have psychic abilities, which drain your psychic meter. These can warp you back to the beginning of the level or offer you temporary invincibility, which allows you to make quick work of the game's many tricky screens. There are plenty of clever bits as well, like this boss who spits out platforms. You have to time your jump so you don't get trapped, and then use the platforms to get near his head and start unleashing hell. All in all, this is a fairly competent action platformer, blending plenty of interesting and tricky enemy patterns with solid level design with decent jumping mechanics. If you're living in North America and looking for something to import for the Master System, look no further than Psychic World. So there you have it, even more good games for the Sega Master System. Now, this is not a definitive list, nor is it intended to be a best of, and the Master System has far more than 5 good games, so be sure to leave a comment and let me know which Master System games you enjoy.